Have you ever carefully considered what truly sets top performing companies apart? You know, the ones that consistently blow the market out of the water and seem to have a secret ingredient in their organizational DNA? Well, the NextArc research team has been digging deep, and I think we've cracked the code, or at least a considerable sequence of it. Hi, I'm Gerry McDonough, founder and managing director of NextArc Leadership Solutions, a leadership performance advisory firm. Our recent research took me on really a fascinating journey into the cultures of 11 S&P 500 sector leaders. These are the real titans of industry today. We're talking about the likes of NVIDIA, Tesla, MasterCard, and even the surprisingly energetic folks at Celsius Holdings, among others. Now, these companies aren't just doing okay. Over the past 5 years, they've delivered a jaw-dropping 657% return, while the broader S&P managed a meager 93% return. So about a seven-fold better performance by these benchmark companies. So what's their magic formula? To find out, we used a tool we developed called the Culture Performance Index, or CPI. Think of it as a sophisticated culture health checkup and a culture measurement and management system for executive leaders. It helps us understand a company's adaptability by looking at 5 key cultural dimensions through the eyes of their employees. Now, these aren't your run-of-the-mill good vibes types of questions and metrics. The CPI dives into things like, is the company primarily focused on its internal workings, or is it keenly aware of the outside world, kind of like a prairie dog constantly popping its head up to survey its surroundings? Are they a culture of constant conflict, or do they thrive on teamwork? Are they a solo artist or a harmonious orchestra? When challenges arise, do they simply react, or are they strategic thinkers anticipating the next move? Are they rigid and resilient to change, or as adaptable as a kind of a chameleon blending into its environment? And finally, is the workplace a monotonous grind for many, or is it genuinely energizing and an inspiring place for people to work? And the results? Well, they were pretty compelling. These benchmark companies weren't just marginally better. They consistently scored significantly higher in adaptability across all 5 of these dimensions. They were more outward focused, more collaborative, more proactive, more flexible, and crucially, they fostered a more invigorating work environment. Now, this might sound a bit academic, so let me paint a more pragmatic picture. Imagine a software development company, let's call it a less adaptable outfit, would be completely fixated on their internal coding standards and processes, so inward focused. They would also have different teams constantly arguing about whose approach was best, so confrontational. They'd only address bugs when users complain loudly, so reactive. They'd stick rigidly to outdated programming language and architectures, so static or status quo. And they'd have developers who look like they're really just churning out the same lines of code day after day, so very monotonous. Now juxtapose this to the benchmark companies in composite as a cutting-edge tech firm. They're constantly kind of monitoring user feedback and analyzing market trends, so outward focused. Different development teams would collaborate seamlessly on projects, cooperative. They're proactively anticipating future technological shifts and experimenting with new solutions, so they're proactive. They would embrace new frameworks and adapt their architecture as needed, so very flexible. And their engineers are passionate, constantly learning, and excited about the impact of their work, and it's a very invigorating environment as a result. You can see how that adaptability gives them a real edge in the fast-paced world of tech, right? So what's also fascinating in the study was that there were 3 key drivers of an adaptable culture. First, strong leadership. Second, policies and systems, and this is important, that support and promote the spoken leadership agenda. And thirdly, well-designed jobs and work processes emerged as the big 3 causal factors. It really underscores the idea that leadership guidance needs to be activated in policies and encoded in job design and work processes. These are not separate management domains, but need to be mutually supportive and harmoniously orchestrated from the top. Now, as with any research, it's important to be upfront about the nuances. There's no such thing as a bulletproof research study. So while the findings are compelling of this study, the sample sizes are for some of the leading companies weren't massive. And let's face it, kind of comparing a tech giant to a real estate powerhouse is like comparing apples to oranges in some ways. Also, while we see a strong link, this study shows correlation, not definitive causation. More research over time, which we'll conduct, may help us to reveal the causal links. So what does it all mean? It strongly suggests, and this is exciting, that building a culture that's agile, externally aware, and truly values its people isn't just a feel-good exercise. It's a significant driver of sustained high performance, sevenfold financial outperformance in this case of this study. So could the CPI even become a valuable tool for investors looking to identify future market leaders? It's certainly something we're looking into. This research clearly demonstrates the power of a dynamic and adaptable culture in driving exceptional results in many areas. And if you're a current or aspiring CXO, you know that fostering this kind of environment starts at the top. Understanding these cultural nuances isn't just about the organization, it's about your effectiveness as a leader and your long-term impact. And now for a complimentary offer. If you're looking to not just navigate the challenges of senior leadership, but to truly thrive and reap the rewards that come with driving a high-performing, adaptable culture, I'd like to offer my initial guidance. I'm inviting you to schedule a focused 30-minute talent strategy planning call with me personally. We can discuss how to apply these cultural insights to your leadership approach and develop a plan sketch that sets you up for sustained success in your current or future CXO role. There's no pressure at all to do business with me. This is simply about creating some initial momentum for you. Honestly, while many who receive this plan sketch do go on to work with me further, there's absolutely no expectation for that. So you'll leave with a clear initial strategy either way, but you'll need to schedule a call to engage in this personalized planning. So if you're ready to explore how culture intelligence can elevate your leadership, click on my calendar link here.